You're just in time for Ripley's Believe It or Not. And Kelly Packard kicks off tonight's first unbelievable story.
Dean, I'm here at Fremont Street in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the woman known for having vice grip jaws. And tonight, in this town full of gamblers, she is willing to bet her life on her mouth. This is Tavana Luvis. Tavana, I love your name. Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Now, you are going to demonstrate what is called the slide for life, right?
That's right.
Okay, can you kind of describe to our viewers what that is?
Well, I'm going to slide down a cable that's approximately 90 feet high and 300 feet long.
Okay, and how fast will you be moving?
Between 50 and 60 miles an hour.
Wow, okay. Well, what makes this so unbelievable is that Tavana is going to be hanging off that wire by her mouth. A feat so dangerous that last time anyone tried anything like this was back in 1934. Now, our crew started rigging for this last night at midnight, making sure that everything was safe for Tavana. Now, show me this device. This is actually the device that she is going to bite into and then hook onto the cable. Your mouth's gonna go on that and you're gonna slide down.
That's right.
Okay, well, there's two dangers here. First of all, it's the potential of falling. Whether the hook pops off the line or Tavana loses the grip of the mouthpiece, it's 90 feet up there with no net, no safety equipment, nothing to break her fall, right? Are you a little nervous about this?
Just a little bit, but more excited.
Okay, well, also, the second danger comes at the end of the slide. Now, you are gonna come in, and if they don't catch you right on, that could be deadly hitting that at those speeds.
Most definitely.
Okay, well, now your assistants aren't gonna let you down, are they?
I hope not.
Now, check out what happened earlier during a test slide.
This crash test dummy, matching Tavana's size and weight, was secured to the high wire to test the strength of the cable. As this run-through demonstrates, if Tavana's crew can't slow her down before she hits the target, severe injuries, even a broken neck, could be the result.
Wow, Tavana, after seeing that, doesn't that change your mind at all?
Not at all. I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, you go to get ready to do this. I know you got a 90-foot climb for starters. All right, well, in just a few minutes, Tavana Luvis, the woman with vice grip jaws, will demonstrate the slide for life, so don't go anywhere.
Tonight on Ripley's. The shocking practice of rope binding has been banned for 100 years. Now, for the first time on American television, one modern woman has come to Ripley's to recreate the risky ritual.
The experience is interesting because, in one way, I do get in some sort of euphoric state.
Harry Fishwick was a hard-working family man at this paper mill, until the day one slice of a blade hacked off 8 of his body parts. Find out how a bag of frozen peas saved Harry's hands.
It was a miracle.
He's the king of the skate park, and he came straight from the jungle.
They can probably do things on a skateboard that we can't do.
Now the world's only skateboarding chimp is ready to attempt his greatest feat yet, just for Ripley's. Plus, how the luckiest man on Earth survived 2 air disasters in one day. Why this woman with a rat-infested home refuses to call an exterminator. And the guy who thinks he can clone a woman using 800 sticks of butter.
It's weird.
Only on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Hello and welcome to Ripley's. Let's get right back out to Kelly Packard, who is lighting up the Las Vegas Strip. Kelly?
Thanks, Dean. It's time for tonight's unbelievable act. And Tavana Luvis and I are going to make our way over to the cable that is 90 feet straight up. Now, you're going to fall all the way over here in less than 5 seconds?
That's right, 5 seconds.
Wow. It's called the Slide for Life, and the last woman to successfully perform the Slide for Life over a public street was Tiny Klein back in 1934. Take a look at this historic Ripley's clip while we get you to your ladder.
In 1934, thousands of New Yorkers gathered to watch Tiny Klein, the famed Ringling Brothers aerialist, attempt an incredibly daring feat to take the first planeless flight over Times Square. In an act that was truly unbelievable, holding on with only her teeth, Tiny soars above the streets of New York City. Inspired by this historic feat, Tavana Luvis will attempt to recreate this unbelievable act over thousands of people, right here on Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Now, except she's going to be going 5 times faster, is that right?
That's right.
All right, why don't you go ahead and head on up that ladder. I'm going to go down to the finish line and I'll see you there, all right?
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, Tavana is making her way up the 90-foot ladder. She's almost at the top. Looks like she's making a few adjustments. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's give her a countdown.
Ready, everybody? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tavana, that was great! Tavana, you did it! That was so great! How do you feel? Woo, that's awesome! I bet you were going so fast!
Wow, that was great.
Oh, man, that was wonderful! She did it! Congratulations! The woman with the vice grip jaws just survived the slide for life, and you saw it only on Ripley's!
That is totally bizarre, isn't it?
You won't believe what's hanging inside the acrylic box on the back of this flatbed truck. This is something you have to see to believe. Later in the show, I'll reveal what's making this crowd go crazy. Stay tuned.
Now, if you discovered a rat in your home, a hairless one like this or otherwise, you'd probably call the exterminator. But for Debbie Dukeman, she bathes it and feeds it because it's just another pet in her house. Hey, there you go. Most people would be horrified to turn on the lights and see a rat scurrying around the house. But not Debbie Dukeman, because believe it or not, she shares her home with 16 of them.
Mr. T, what are you doing in there?
Since she was a kid, Debbie has been fascinated by rodents, even keeping them as family pets.
I don't think anybody would be surprised to find out that I turned out to be the rat lady.
Today, Debbie lives in Chico, California with her very understanding husband, Larry, and a house full of her favorite rodents.
As you walk through the house in the daytime, you've got rats that are coming out and they're wanting some attention or just seeing what's going on themselves, and so you've got these little eyes looking at you.
Debbie gets her rats through donations, rescuing the unwanted critters. She even occasionally buys them at the local pet store and is always quick to point out the difference between them and their wild cousins.
They're as different from wild rats as dogs are from wolves. So there's no reason to be any more afraid of these pet rats than you would be to a lap dog.
Debbie is always happy to spend some quality time with her unusual pets,
Good boy.
including Merlin, a specially bred, hairless rat.
Come on.
In fact, she has such a close connection to her rats that she's actually trained them. Now they perform tricks, like jumping from one platform to another,
Here we go. Jump. Good boy.
and walking a tightrope. But this is only the beginning of Debbie's rat obsession. She regularly photographs her furry friends, even getting them to pose in costumes, including a foot-long snowman, the pretty ballerina, a royal king, red and black ladybug, and a very hairy butterfly.
Each rat has their own personality, and there are some rats that can be very stubborn, and then others can be very willing to please.
I didn't grow up with rats and didn't know what they would be like as a pet. I have found that they're very social animals, they're very smart, and they do make good pets.
And these spoiled rats don't just stay at home. When Debbie heads into town, one of her beloved rodents is sure to tag along.
Uh-oh, he's peeing on you.
Even though they're not completely housebroken, these rats will always have a loving home.
We have no human children, and so I guess, I do look at the rats as my family. I think they are just the most lovable animals in the world.
Believe it. Though Debbie welcomes rats into her house, you may not. So beware, these little rodents can sneak into your home through a hole about the size of a quarter.
Ripley's legally insane. We travel the globe in search of the most unbelievable laws on the books. Honolulu, Hawaii. In this tropical town, attempting to harass or annoy a bird could get you locked in a cage. That's because driving any of the city's exotic birds cuckoo is illegal. The law is part of Honolulu's strict park regulations, and it's enforced to ensure that man and his feathered friends live together in harmony within this Hawaiian paradise. Insane or not, it's the law. They are the ocean's most savage killers, and it all starts inside the womb. Witness the unbelievable video of these baby sharks eating their own. Plus, the odds of surviving an air disaster are astronomical. Now, meet the man who plunged to Earth twice in one day and lived to tell about it.
It became imperative to get out of the aircraft.
Find out what he did to survive and how he saved his friends. Also, Ripley's travels to the only village on Earth where everyone walks on stilts. And Desiree Gonzalez is obsessed with resurrecting the alluring but vanished ritual of body binding.
It is an art form to me. It's changing your body and being able to make it the way you'd like to have it seen.
Wrapped in rope, find out if she can endure this crude corset when Ripley's returns. You're watching Ripley's Believe It or Not. With their sleek lines and some very sharp teeth, American sand tiger sharks are certainly well equipped to kill, and the barbaric behavior begins at a shockingly young age. While still in the womb, as this rare footage reveals, these sharks must fight to the death in a cannibalistic feeding frenzy, where only the strongest survive. This deadly form of sibling rivalry was first discovered by researchers after a pregnant sand tiger shark was found washed up on the shore. Once an endoscopic probe was inserted into the shark's womb, a previously unknown inner world was revealed. Dark and soupy, inside there are countless eggs and newly forming embryos. In a gruesome case of survival of the fittest, the older embryonic sharks begin eating their smaller siblings. As savage as it sounds, the cannibalism actually promotes rapid healthy growth, giving the surviving sharks a strong shot at flourishing in the open sea. Believe it.
Depending on who you ask, pilot Justin Kirkbride is either one of the luckiest or unluckiest men on Earth. Because after surviving a small plane crash, he crashed again that very same day in the rescue chopper.
32-year-old Justin Kirkbride was born to fly. Having logged hundreds of hours in the air, he could never have imagined he was about to make aviation disaster history. Because believe it or not, after surviving one plane crash, Justin crashed again just a few hours later.
There was no doubt in my mind this wasn't a dream. It was pretty real.
Justin, a licensed pilot, and two friends had just rented a small Cessna. But what started out as a relaxing day of sightseeing turned out to be anything but. Approaching a treacherous mountain range near Durango, Colorado, the engine starts to sputter. The plane is going down. Crashing into the snowy, tree-covered mountainside, the impact immediately shears off the plane's wings.
When we finally came to a stop at the base of the trees, we were in the snow, we were nose down, and the plane was completely destroyed.
Shaken but alive, Justin realizes his two friends are too injured to move. And to Justin's horror, the radio is dead. Cut, bleeding, and bruised, his only hope for help is to hike out. Meanwhile, Colorado Search and Rescue receives an emergency locator transmission and immediately begin a visual search.
It wasn't easy to spot in the last half hour of daylight, but we did manage to find him and put down in a very small clearing and pick him up.
Justin breathes a sigh of relief. Plucking him off the mountainside, the rescue team heads back to the crash site for his two friends. But daylight is fading quickly. Against incredible odds, they actually spot the wreckage. It seems like everything's going to be okay. Then, moving in for the rescue, the truly unthinkable happens. The rescue chopper's blade catches a tree branch. Tearing away the tail rotor, Justin and the rescue team plummet 75 feet straight down. Miraculously, once again, no one is seriously hurt. But even more incredible, though the odds of it happening are nearly 24 million to 1. Justin has just survived his second air disaster on the same day. But this time, the radio works and two more search and rescue teams are dispatched. With the morning light, the men at both crash sites are greeted by the welcome sight of rescue helicopters. Unbelievably, though suffering some minor bone fractures, cuts, bruises, and frostbite, everyone makes it home alive. And despite the fact it almost cost him his life, twice, Justin hasn't been scared out of the sky. After all, the odds of this happening again are simply incalculable.
I would say that, that if I had to do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same way.
Yes, Justin still has his pilot's license, and he flies all the time.
Ripley's travels to Thailand in tonight's Ripley's World Tour.
It may look like they're in the middle of some sort of game, but believe it or not, in this village, every man, woman, and child walks on stilts. This region of rural Thailand gets so much rain during the winter that each year flooding turns the streets into a muddy mess. So citizens came up with a solution. Now, even the youngest kids learn to make and use these bamboo stilts to stay high and dry. Believe it.
When a 2,000-pound blade came crashing down on Harry Fishwick's hands, he thought he'd never use them again. Find out why he owes his fingers to a bag of vegetables. Plus, when it comes to extreme skateboarding, this chimp doesn't monkey around. Ripley's hangs on the halfpipe with the world's wildest chimp on wheels in tonight's Unbelievable Animals. And meet the artist whipping up sexy sculptures by turning and churning butter into beautiful bodies of art.
This is Louis' skateboard. It looks a little bit different, but these minor modifications make it much easier for this next guy to tear up a half pipe. Did I mention that this next guy is a chimp? Check it out.
Louis the Chimp does all the things you'd expect him to. He hoots, hollers, makes faces, even pounds his chest like Tarzan. But that's not all Lou can do. Believe it or not, he's the only simian in the world who can skateboard. And it's made him a movie star. Born 6 years ago on Greg and Carol Lill's Chimp Sanctuary in Sacramento, California, Louis got his big showbiz break in 1999 when a movie came looking for a skateboarding chimp. But could a primate really learn to hang on the half pipe? It's a question Louis' owners were hard-pressed to find out.
We only have probably about 2 months training, about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Surprising everyone, Louis caught on quickly, demonstrating 3 times the strength and nearly 7 times the coordination of a human.
He learns in about 1/10 of the time that a person would learn to do.
Louis eventually mastered some pretty awesome moves on his modified board, even impressing his pro skating movie co-star, Bob Burnquist.
That amazed me alone, you know, just kind of getting speed and him doing the kick turns and just the amount of balance that you can instantly see, you know, that he had.
In fact, the two have become almost inseparable.
That's right.
And Louis, who still hits the ramps a couple of times a week, just goes bananas when Bob teaches him a new trick.
While Bob's doing these hot dog tricks, the chimp's watching, and he wants to follow, he wants to keep up.
But today, for Ripley's, Louis is warming up to try and outdo himself. Instead of just cruising the half pipe, he'll try to actually hit a 3.5-foot ramp, go airborne, and stick a landing on his board. It's a move that requires a strong sense of timing and balance on Louis' part. But somehow, he seems to understand that.
They are amazing at balance. They have it. They can probably do things on a skateboard that we can't do.
Finally, this pumped-up primate is ready. He rolls down the ramp, and he's off. Catching some big air, this amazing animal athlete has done it. Limber Louis adds another credit to his growing list of accomplishments, a feat that makes Louis' parents proud. Because almost every bit of chimp change Louis earns goes back to supporting the sanctuary's other simians, including Louis' very own family.
We have both his natural mother and father, and along with siblings.
Believe it or not.
Some people may wonder why chimps are so adept at human-inspired activities like skateboarding. Well, maybe it's because chimps share 98.4% of our DNA. Now, Harry Fishwick is a hard-working family man who lives a very ordinary life. He never dreamed that one day he'd be considered a medical miracle, nor that all of this would be made possible by a bag of frozen peas. Paper mills can be dangerous places to work, a fact that became horribly clear to Harry Fishwick after Harry got his hands caught in an industrial cutter, chopping right through 8 of his fingers. Now, to try and save his hands, doctors are attempting something that's never been done, reattaching all 8 fingers at one time. Harry's job at the paper mill was to operate this gargantuan guillotine, designed to slice through 5 feet of paper with 70,000 pounds of force. And despite always being careful to keep clear of the blade, this day would result in a series of uncanny mishaps, with everything going wrong at once. Harry slips, knocking himself unconscious and exposing both hands to the blade. Then, in a bizarre coincidence, the automatic safety designed to stop the monstrous machine fails, slicing off 8 of Harry's fingers. Thinking fast, co-workers gather the severed digits and look for something to pack them in. The coldest thing they can find, a bag of frozen peas. Harry, who's rapidly losing blood, is rushed to the hospital along with his fingers. Though alive, he's in terrible pain. But the news is about to get worse. Since anesthesia would impair his blood flow, he will need to endure emergency surgery awake. Using local anesthetics, doctors kill the pain as best they can.
It needed a lot of anesthetic input. We had 3 anesthetists working for the 18 hours.
2 teams of surgeons work together to repair bones and reattach tendons. Then begins the delicate task of joining together arteries and veins, measuring less than 1 millimeter in diameter.
It's a very methodical, progressive operation and you can't really shorten it.
Each hand would take 18 hours of grueling surgery. But remarkably, doctors are successful in reconnecting all 8 fingers. Harry can't believe it.
I expected to get some today to the right hand, but it was a wonderful surprise when I got both of them.
But the question still remains.
Oh, hi, Harry.
Will Harry actually be able to use his hands again?
The first 8 weeks are quite critical because that's when the tendons are healing, and you've got to get the tendons to heal and move at the same time.
Harry's progress is slow at first. It is 6 full weeks before there is any feeling in his hands. But with his wife's encouragement, Harry isn't about to give up. He has too much to live for.
I mean, if I hadn't been married, I'd been put in a home for the rest of my life. People can't imagine just what goes through your mind. It's horrible.
And with Harry's determination, all the hard work is paying off. Because while his hands aren't quite what they used to be, he's able to lead a normal life, shaving, feeding himself, even tying his shoes. And doctors expect Harry's hands will keep getting stronger with time.
It was a miracle. As far as I'm concerned, it was a miracle.
Believe it. Harry Fishwick is the first man in Britain to have all his fingers successfully reattached.
It's called rope binding, a risky coming-of-age ritual banned a century ago. Now see what happens as one woman dares to wrap herself in the past.
Pain is beauty. It just depends on what you're willing to go through.
Plus, find out what's got Dean seeing stars and stripes.
God bless America.
And it's never been seen anywhere before. Ripley's returns to Kelly Packard in Las Vegas to reveal the shocking contents of this truck. The jaw-dropping unveiling is only moments away. Find out what's in the box next.
Desiree Gonzalez is your typical all-American girl with a unique passion. A passion for being tied up with rope for hours at a time. Did I say typical? This modern American woman is preparing to step back in time and get wrapped in the past. You see, 20-year-old Desiree Gonzalez is obsessed with resurrecting the alluring but banished ritual known as body binding. And to do it, she'll allow herself to be compressed inside a crude and painful corset.
Pain is beauty, but I mean, certain people can't tolerate it, and it just depends on what you're willing to go through.
Before being banished 100 years ago, it was routine for young women in Borneo to be bound in rope as a coming-of-age ritual. And although it's barbaric by today's standards, for Desiree, it's a personal test of endurance and willpower. And she's allowing Ripley's cameras to document the private, exotic ritual for the very first time. To help Desiree in her quest, Gideon Ling, a longtime student of the body binding technique, has agreed to perform the ceremony, a ceremony which is inherently risky.
Pinched nerves, pinched vessels, and bruising it's just not a good thing. You've got to be very, very careful with what you're doing.
He begins the process by burning the ends of the ropes to keep them from fraying. Then he lays them out in the order in which they'll be used. Starting with Desiree's upper thighs, Gideon begins wrapping her body, being careful to keep the correct tension on the ropes.
If it's too loose, it's going to chafe like you would not believe. It's extremely uncomfortable when you're wearing it. But if it's too tight, then it's too tight and it's cutting off circulation and things like that. So you have to find that happy medium.
Next, following the ancient tradition, Gideon applies the cord to Desiree's torso. This is where potential problems can arise. But Desiree desperately wants to prove that she can do it.
With me, it's about mind over matter, because if I get too scared or if I worry, I'm not gonna be able to control it. The breathing is even more limited because my diaphragm is contracted.
As Gideon ties off the last end, Desiree experiences the full constriction of the ropes as they embrace her body.
When the rope is on, it's a binding effect. I mean, your body is clenched, it's tightened. You're more aware of your body, of your skin. With all the rope hitting all of the nerves on your body, you feel it on you.
The experience is interesting because in one way I do get in some sort of euphoric state because I'm controlling myself.
But after only a few minutes of being crushed and pressed at full force, the strain and pressure from the ropes proved too much. Gideon, aware of the danger, fears Desiree may be beginning to black out, and he immediately halts the session and loosens the rope. Although getting a taste of tradition was more intense than she'd bargained for, incredibly, Desiree is determined to conquer this banished body-binding ritual. And after catching her breath for a few moments, the process continues, until finally the last rope is in place. For Desiree, it's been a life-changing experience she can't wait to try again.
I'm 20 years old now, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I'm sure that the more I do this, I'll be able to tolerate more tightening on the corsets. I love the way it looks, and the experience, it's very euphoric, and it's fun. I love it.
While Desiree's body modification is temporary, lasting only as long as she is bound, the pioneers who began this process would stay wrapped for years at a time. And then as adults, remove the ropes. Their bodies would then be permanently transformed.
Next, it's a shocking feat beyond your imagination. Never seen anywhere before.
Let's check this out.
After traveling through the streets of Sin City for hours, Ripley's Kelly Packard reveals what's in the box next. And only Ripley's brings you the incredible edible artwork that's truly finger-licking good. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Forget about colored contact lenses. This latest craze will have you seeing stars. Well, stars and stripes, to be more exact. See, these are American flag lenses. They don't affect your vision at all, and they cost about $100 a pair. God bless America.
Enter Robert Ripley's archives.
Robert Ripley, believe it or not. Believe it or not.
The year is 1962, and this pair of German inventors come up with a clever new way to water ski. This remote ski boat allows a skier to tow themselves instead of having to rely on a boat and driver. It's so powerful it can even pull two skiers at once. Inevitably, the craft catches the attention of water jocks around the world and eventually evolves into the modern-day jet ski.
Believe it or not.
Now let's go back out to Las Vegas to find out what made the audience go so crazy. Kelly?
Hey, Dean. The audience here on Fremont Street has just started to regain their composure after the arrival of the Ripley's motorcade. This flatbed truck is carrying an acrylic box. Now watch what happened earlier when the crowd in here saw what was in this box.
That is totally bizarre, isn't it?
Now, it's time for our viewers at home to see what's inside the box, but I have to warn you, what you're about to see is graphic. Can I get someone to help me rip this off? Anyone? How about you? What's your name?
Mary.
And Mary, where are you from?
Delaware.
Delaware. Okay, do you want to rip this off with me and see what's inside?
Sure. It'll be fun.
All right, come on. You take that corner, I got this one. You ready? Ready, audience at home? 1, 2, 3, go. Richard Nunez and Jason Price. They are practitioners of body modification called human suspension, hanging from hooks pierced directly into their flesh. Hey guys, how you hanging? I guess that's not the right thing to say. How you doing?
We're doing great.
Good, all right. Okay, the obvious question here is, what are you guys doing here?
Well, actually, we've been traveling around Las Vegas, breaking a world record, hanging from 4 hooks throughout our body, and nobody ever has really done a traveling suspension but our team, the Body Art Daredevils.
Oh my gosh, now this looks entirely too painful for most people. Richard, are you in pain?
We've been used to doing these things for years.
So you're not in any pain at all?
We're a little stiff in the knees. Yeah. Our knees have been locked like this for hours now.
It has been a long day. How long have you guys been up there?
4 hours, to say the least.
Wow, that's a new world record. Richard and Jason started building their suspension shell 3 days ago. It's a fishbowl on wheels. Earlier today, the two were pierced and their trip into Vegas began. Take a look.
Earlier this evening, the painful piercing process began. One surgical stainless steel shark hook was inserted in each shoulder. Then a single hook embedded in the back of each leg. After a few final adjustments, the suspension team's caravan is ready to roll. Hanging in place, they begin the excruciating 3.5-mile trip into downtown Las Vegas. Making their way to Fremont Street, bystanders catching a glimpse inside are shocked at the sight.
How was your ride through the city?
Bumpy.
Bumpy?
Very bumpy.
Did you feel it every time you hit a bump?
I feel the stops. The stops.
The stops. What would happen? You'd go forward and it would... Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. 2 guys suspended on hooks on display in a glass box driven through Las Vegas, setting a Ripley's record for the longest human suspension in a moving vehicle. And you saw it only on Ripley's.
This man's trying to capture every curve of this model's body. You won't believe it's butter. And what ghastly secrets do these colorful contraptions hide inside? Find out when Dean unlocks the Ripley's Vault next. Amazing stories and unbelievable people. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
You can spread it, smear it, even whip it. But this man isn't interested in eating it. Believe it or not, Jim Victor uses butter to create amazing art.
Most people don't realize that you can make sculptures out of butter.
Now, at the Fleischer Art Memorial Museum in Philadelphia, this sculptor will carve out his tastiest creation to date, a one-of-a-kind life-size model made only of butter. Jim began churning out edible art 30 years ago. Beginning with chocolate, he soon discovered the joys of butter.
Buddhist monks have been doing butter sculptures for centuries, and it's just a wonderful material for modeling, actually.
Jim's sculptures have appeared in public and private collections around the country. Incredibly, for today's creation, Jim plans to use over 800 sticks of butter. That's over 200 pounds of dairy product, an amount that would take the average person 40 years to eat.
It's not as heavy as clay, and it's slippery. No surprise to anybody.
Jim begins by outlining the model's form. Then he starts hacking off big chunks of butter. He works quickly since rising temperature will soften his creation.
I think the temperature control is always the biggest challenge with butter.
Doing his best to keep the melting process at a minimum, Jim uses a special refrigerated box set at 55 degrees. And despite the chill, his model does her best to lie perfectly still.
It's pretty difficult to pose because you have to try to keep still, and then your leg starts to go numb or your neck starts to crank a certain way, and then it starts to hurt a little bit.
Minutes turn into hours as Jim captures every nuance. Finally, an incredible 16 hours later, the detailed sculpture is at last completed. Jim's model can't help but react to her buttery image.
The shape is amazing. It's really weird to see my face sculpted in it, and the legs and even the feet look like mine. It's weird.
Jim Victor's latest and greatest butter creation? Appetizing art that's finger-licking good.
At first glance, you might be asking yourself what these brightly painted pop art-looking sculptures are doing in the Ripley's vault, a place usually reserved for the more grisly artifacts in this vast collection. Well, these are actually coffins made by craftsmen in Ghana. They celebrate the achievements or the hobbies of the dearly departed. Each carved wood box costs about $5,000 US. That's about 2 years' salary to the average person in Ghana. The lion might bestow the deceased with courage. And the cola bottle, well, could possibly be used for an employee of the bottling plant. Or simply a person who loved soda. Unbelievable? Believe it.
Only those with the guts.
All right, let's do this.
Win the glory. Fear Factor. Back-to-back episodes. Tonight starting at 7. Only on Chiller.
Scare Tactics. Back-to-back episodes. Tomorrow starting at 7. Only on Chiller. Scary good.